Fellow Dominicans, I wish to provide the public with an update on the government of Dominica's ongoing engagement with the United States of America following the presidential proclamation issued on 16 December 2025, which announced partial restrictions on the entry of Dominican nationals into the United States with an indicated effective date of January 1st, 2026. From the outset, the government of Dominica has treated this matter with urgency, seriousness, and respect for the sovereignty of the United States. We fully recognize the right of every nation to protect its national security and public safety. Dominica shares those objectives, and our cooperation with the United States has always been guided by that shared commitment. Following the proclamation, the government of Dominica, through the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Dominica's embassy in Washington, D.C., initiated immediate discussions with officials at the U.S. Embassy in Bridgetown and subsequently the U.S. State Department in Washington. These engagements were aimed at clarifying the scope and practical implication of the proclamation, determining how it would affect Dominican nationals, assessing whether reforms already implemented by Dominica satisfy the conditions referenced in the proclamation. I also mandated the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our embassy in Washington, D.C. to coordinate responses, closely monitor developments, and provide timely guidance to the government and the public. In parallel, the government formally wrote to the President of the United States, seeking clarification and urgent dialogue in keeping with the spirit of partnership outlined in the proclamation itself. It is important to place this issue in its proper context. Over the past several years, particularly throughout 2024 and 2025, Dominica has worked closely with U.S. authorities through multiple channels, including the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our embassy in Washington, and in coordination with regional partners to address all concerns raised regarding the Citizenship by Investment Program. On 14 October 2025, Dominica became the first OECS member state to enact comprehensive legislative reforms to its CBI program. These reforms include enhanced and enforceable residency requirements, stricter controls on name changes, strengthened due diligence and background checks, increased financial transparency, enhanced powers to revoke citizenship and recall passports where necessary, and the establishment of an independent regulatory authority. These measures reflected Dominica's commitment to operating the program at the highest international standards and in full alignment with U.S. and international security expectations. Following extensive exchanges with U.S. authorities, the government has received important clarification. Someone asked, for example, has the United States suspended its December 16, 2025 decision? At this time, the proclamation itself has not been formally withdrawn or suspended. However, critical clarifications have been provided regarding its application and scope. Another question is there a defined period of suspension? There is no specified suspension period at this stage. Discussions are ongoing, and the government continues to engage U.S. authorities with the objective of reversing all restrictions affecting Dominican nationals. A first formal review will take place 90 days after January 1st, 2026. The measures will remain in effect until the identified areas of concern are determined to have been addressed. Another question, can Dominican nationals who already hold valid U.S. visas continue to travel after January 1st, 2026? The simple answer is yes. The government has received confirmation that Dominican nationals who hold valid U.S. visas, including tourists, business, students, and other categories, may continue to travel to the United States and its territories as is customary, subject to standard U.S. immigration laws and entry requirements. This clarification reaffirms the continuity of lawful travel and provides reassurance to students, families, business travelers, and others with existing visas. Importantly, no valid U.S. visas are being revoked as a result of the proclamation. Can Dominicans without visas continue to apply for and receive visas after January 1st, 2026? Yes, applications may continue to be submitted. However, while applications can be made, new visas cannot be issued while a restriction remains in place for those affected by the proclamation. Will there be any new requirements for U.S. visa applications? At this time, the government has not been advised of any new or additional visa application requirements specific to Dominican nationals beyond existing U.S. immigration processes. Should this change, the public will be informed promptly. Therefore, in summary, the restriction applies only to Dominican citizens who do not hold valid U.S. visas. It does not affect Dominican nationals who already possess valid visas. It does not revoke existing visas, and it does not stop visa applications from being submitted. On the question of compliance, the Government of Dominica is confident that the far-reaching legislative and regulatory reforms enacted on 14 October 2025 directly address the issues referenced in the proclamation, including residency, due diligence, transparency, and enforcement. However, in the interest of partnership and clarity, the government has formally sought confirmation from U.S. authorities on whether these measures fully satisfy the conditions outlined and whether any additional actions are required. Dominica values its strong and long-standing relationship with the United States, including close cooperation in maritime security, law enforcement, and regional stability. We remain fully committed to cooperation, transparency, and shared security objectives. The government will continue its engagement with the U.S. Embassy in Bridgetown and the State Department in Washington with the goal of resolving this matter constructively and reversing all restrictions affecting Dominican nationals. I assure the public that the government is acting decisively, responsibly, and in the best interests of Dominican citizens. We'll continue to provide accurate, timely updates as discussion progress. Dominica remains open to dialogue at all levels and is confident that continued engagement will lead to a resolution consistent with mutual respect and the strength of our bilateral relationship.